Hello, hello, also known as SpycyShark. I'm here today to talk about the 12 illustration challenge that I've been working on this past year. So, plot twist, I didn't really finish on time. This is me working on it. Last one. Alright. Um, so in this video, I want to talk about what the challenge entails, ways to approach it, how the challenge helped me, and what I learned. So this is not like an official or original challenge. It was just a little personal thing, and I thought it would be worth sharing if anyone was interested in trying out. So the intention of the challenge is to produce 12 illustrations with full background. If you're not an illustrator or you don't want to use illustrations, that could easily be replaced with another project. So pretty much any body of work that 12 creations in a year would be enough for you. Or, a 6-month challenge. So I chose 12 because I thought it would be feasible without setting myself up for burnout. I did burn out, as you can see, but that was for other reasons. And, close enough, right? So this was inspired by me trying to improve backgrounds. I wanted to update my portfolio, and I wanted to just overall have more polished work within the year. I was looking at those a year in the review or art summary things for years, and I filled mine out in Photoshop, and I was like, ooh, yeah, this is not look good. I like had it was like a lot of hit and misses. Like some months would have, I don't know, good illustrations by my own standards, and then some days it would just, some months would not be really good. So, with the intention of wanting to fill that up with some decent illustrations, this kind of happened. So here's a quick review of the ones I completed. I have a video of the first one if you're interested. I'll add a card to this video. I'm just throwing out there, for the majority of the illustrations, I used the Procreate app for the iPad, as well as Paint Tool Sci. Sometimes it was like one or the other. The softer looking ones were made in Paint Tool Sci. And then, for example, the possum one was a combination of both. So in October I was doing Inktober, so I just, counted it. There were a bunch of backgrounds, so I was like, good enough. So my approach, I didn't really have it go with a theme. I just made additional goals as I went along. What really helped was keeping all my finished illustrations in a folder, so I could just like at a glance look at them and then see what I wanted to do differently, subject wise, color wise, perspective wise. And then as I progressed, I noticed some patterns that I was doing, like some good, some not so good. For example, I need to draw more than one character. I started off with 2 characters, and then like as time went on, I went back to my comfort zone of just drawing one character, which worked for some pieces, but I feel like I could vary it up a little bit more. Another thing was more diverse camera angles. I use 1-point perspective a lot, and I just want to try to do more like, well, I guess top down could still be 1-point perspective, but I wanted to do more top down illustrations and then like ones that are looking up versus just like at eye level. And so these are the things I want to improve in the upcoming year. As a result, I made a lot of thumbnails, and I feel like that made the final results a bit better, in my opinion. In some cases, I would try a lot of different ideas and not be happy with them. For example, my first one, I had 2 different illustrations that I was like, all right, I'm kind of getting there, and I was coloring it, but I was just not feeling it. And so my third one's a charm. Third time's a charm. So, oh yeah, and then in some cases I would try a lot of different ideas and I would not be happy with them. And then sometimes randomly, like I'd be laying in bed thinking about random stuff, and I would get an idea, and I would have to go find my sketchbook and sketch it out. So I'd recommend keeping a paper pad with you. Yeah, some other ways to take notes, because sometimes those ideas disappear as quickly as they come. Sometimes I would not have the opportunity to instantly draw them, so I would just write them down on my phone, just descriptions. And then something that I learned that kept the workflow, I don't know, a little more interesting was podcasts. I know some people watch TV shows, so you do you if you could do that, but I personally don't feel like I'm quite invested in it. Whereas podcasts, I feel like because it doesn't require a visual element, you could just listen to them. And personally, I found that more narrative ones were more helpful for me, but that's a personal thing. Whereas like podcasts that were educating you, They were interesting, and sometimes I felt like I listened a little bit better, but at the same time, I felt like I could have benefited learning those things mentioned in the podcast if I was taking notes or something. Which you could. You could go back and forth. So, in case you want, I'm going to throw some podcast recommendations in the descriptions. If you would like to put in your own recommendations, I would love to hear them. In the end, overall, 12 months was enough time for me, except for towards the end. There were times where I did procrastinate, and I would post a drawing around 11 p.m. on the last day of the month. So that was pushing it a lot. Things that I would do differently was procrastinate less, of course. So I would like to work on illustrations bit by bit, such as an hour a day rather than several hours in one sitting, which is what I would do. And then I would lose interest, and then I would just wait for a very long time until it interested me again. I would like to push my color schemes. I notice I use a lot of greens and pinks, and just not a lot of cool colors. With the greens, they would always be with something warm, like warm yellows or warm reds. I also want to get in the habit of spending an hour doodling before working on the illustration itself, in order to get rid of distractions of other things I would like to draw or want to be drawing instead. So that is all I have to say for now. If you want to follow this challenge, feel free to use the hashtag 12illochallenge, illo short for illustration. I would love to see what we work on. If enough people are interested, maybe we can be a small community and root for each other or something like that. I wish you well on your art journeys. Have fun creating. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye!